Hi, this is Christine. Welcome to Scrap and Rabbit. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I constructed these little guest books. These are really handy to make because you can customize them to your own special event, and they can also be used as diaries or autograph books or even planners. So I'm going to show you how to construct the covers. These are basically two covers. Each cover is made of two separate pieces so that this can fold back like that, which is handy because then you can easily write in the book because the covers fold back so easily, and the back cover is the same. I use some cardstock inside for the pages, but you can use whatever paper you prefer and then embellish them as you wish. Now this tutorial is basically the same as the tutorials in my Etsy shop. This video shows you step by step how to create the project from start to finish. But then there's also the written instructions with photos that you can download so that once you've seen the video, you can just refer to the instructions if you want to make some more of these. As a reminder, the pictures will remind you of the different steps, and it's very detailed. So I'm going to include a link to this document in the description of this video, so you can go ahead and download this. It also includes a list of the supplies and the size that you need to cut each piece. So you can download that before we get started. And these are the embellishments that I put on my guest book. I have a little pocket that I made, and I use a die cut to cut out the center. And I have a little card here that just slides out like that, so you could put a picture in there or put a date, especially if you're making this for somebody else so they can decide what they want to put on there. And I use some bridal applique to make these because these are in a bridal theme, and I have little flowers on there and a little butterfly. And these covers and the pages are attached together with ribbon, and I have little eyelets, so it's very simple to make. So download the written instructions with the cutting dimensions, and you can pre-cut your pieces if you like. And let's get started. I've got my pieces cut. The front and the back covers are made the same way, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I make the front cover, and then you can replicate the steps to make the back cover. So there's this little piece of plastic strip. I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit hard to see. And the left section of the cover will attach to one side of the strip, and then the right side of the cover will attach here, and then the whole thing will be wrapped in paper. But this plastic is to help reinforce where the cover will fold. You can also use Tyvek. A lot of people use Tyvek for their mini albums. I don't have any Tyvek, so I'm using this plastic, and I just get this from a plastic page protector. I just cut it to size. So let's get started by attaching this piece to the edge, to the center of my piece of plastic like that. So I'm going to put a strip of two-sided tape along here. I'm using my narrow tape. I ran out of wide tape. I'll have to get some of that. So I'm going to start with putting just two strips of tape down here. I'm removing my tape backing. Okay, so now I'm going to position this so that my tape lines up around the center. And I just eyeball that, like that. And then I can finish putting some more tape on here. Next, this piece will attach about a 1/4 inch away from the inside edge because I want this to be able to fold up easily. If it was close together like that, it wouldn't open very well. So I'm going to put a strip of two-sided tape about 1/4 inch away from the edge. And then I'm going to keep applying some more tape right up to the other side. Like that. So I'm going to remove the tape backing. And just position that on there. Like that. Okay, so this is going to open like that. The plastic will go on the inside because that's where the wear will be. I'm ready to start wrapping my cover. My paper is cut and I'm going to put some two-sided tape across here. And this is going to go like that. So I'm just going to flip the whole thing over. And when I position this, I'm going to leave about 1 inch top and bottom and the sides for wrapping. I think I'll just start by positioning this, and then I can tape this down. Like that. So that's going to go like that. Make sure if there's a direction on your paper that you've got it going in the right direction. Next, I take my ruler and a pencil, and I'm going to mark a diagonal line on the corners about 1/8 or about 1/4 inch away from the corners of the covers. Like that. It's a little bit close. I'm going to cut outside that line. I didn't measure that right. And I'm going to cut these corners off. That's going to make it easier to wrap the cover. I put some two-sided tape around the cover. Around the end of the narrow binding here and at the top. So now I'm going to put also some tape around my scrapbook paper. And I'm going to cover also the diagonal cuts. Now I begin wrapping. I'll remove the two-sided, the tape backing from one end. And I'll just partly remove the diagonal tape here. And I fold this up like that. Then on this side, I remove the tape backing, and here where the little corner is, I'm going to press down with my fingernail to make sure it's nice and snug in there, so I get a nice crisp corner. And then I remove the rest of the tape backing. Again, I just partially remove it from here. And I fold up. And here again, I press down at the corner. And see, that gives you a nice square edge here. On this length, I'm going to press down the corners on both sides and fold up. Like that. So this will fold up like that. Now I'm going to line the inside. So I'm going to take my scrapbook paper and I'm just going to eyeball this. I think I can probably trim this, about 5.5 inches in width, but I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to eyeball this. I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch top and bottom. I'm going to mark where to cut. And then also 1/8 of an inch along the right edge here. There. use this paper for the back cover as well. And since it's going to be the same side, I can just go ahead and cut that straight across, and I'll have my two pieces. I'll save this for later. So this is going to go inside the cover just like that. So I'm going to put some two-sided tape all around. And I'm going to put some across, but I also want my inside to stay snug here. So I'm going to put some two-sided tape on each side of the fold. And don't go right from the top to the bottom because your tape will be visible. So now I'm going to continue putting some more tape across my liner. And I'm going to position that like that. I'll just start by removing a bit of the strip of tape backing. Put this in position and then press down and remove the rest of the backing. Now I know it's not going to move, so I can go ahead and remove the rest of the tape backing. So there's the front of my Guestbook, and there's the inside. So next I'm going to make the back cover the same way. So here's my back cover, and again my plastic is on the inside of the Guestbook, and here's my wrapper, and it's going to go on the back like that. So I'm going to put my two-sided tape, I'm just going to flip this over, and I'm going to put my two-sided tape on the cover. So here's my back cover. The outside is wrapped. There's the plastic on the inside, and I'm going to attach my liner to the inside. And again, I'm going to put some two-sided tape around these edges here. To make sure that that stays down nice and snug. Then I'm going to put some tape around my scrapbook paper and across the surface, and then I'm going to attach it inside the cover. Now that my covers are done, I'm ready to punch the holes in the binding strips here. Now before I do that, I'm going to cut a few inside pages. Actually, I'm going to take one sheet of 8.5 by 11, and my inside pages, I can make 2 per sheet, so they're going to measure 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to cut at 5.5 inches. So I've got here 2 pages for my album, and they're just a little bit smaller than the cover, so they will be completely hidden inside the book, inside the guest book. Now, to determine where to put my holes, I'm going to use this punch, but you can use whatever you want to cut the holes in your paper, but I'm going to use one of these as a template to punch my holes in the cover. But before I do that, I take a piece of paper and I'm going to cut it so that it measures 5.5 inches. And the width doesn't matter. I have this one cut at about 1 inch. I fold it in 2 to find the center, and then I'm going to punch my holes. So on my punch I have a center positioner here, so I can just line up this with the center and my holes will punch evenly on each side. What you can do is just fold this in 2 and just use a crocodile or something to punch the holes in here and use that as a template on your pages and on your cover. But because I have this machine here, this punch, I'm going to use that for my pages. So I'm going to find the center here and punch. And I'm going to use this page as a template. I can actually use these two, and I'll punch them at the same time. So that's going to go here, and I can punch that. So that's the template I'm going to use for my paper. So now I can just mark where I'm going to punch the holes in my cover. But I'm going to use my crocodile because I'm not sure that these holes are the same size. And I'm going to be putting in some eyelets. So I'm going to use my crocodile. That, and then I'm going to place this over the back cover. Make sure it's nice and straight, and I'm going to mark through the holes to show where I need to punch. So that looks good. And my sheet fits inside there, like that. So I'm going to set my eyelets. go. So then I'm going to set my eyelets on the back cover as well. I'm going to finish cutting my pages for the inside, and then I'm going to attach the covers together with the ribbon. My pages are cut and punched, and my guest book is ready to assemble. So I'm going to start with my ribbon. I'm going to take one end. It's easier if I trim this to point like that. So I'm going to insert in here, and then I run it through my pages. Into the back cover, and then on the back I make sure it's going to be nice and flat. And back to the front. And then I just tie a bow. And you can adjust the length . And then I just trim my ends so that they're neat again. You can run a little match underneath that will melt the ends so that they don't unravel. So the basic guest book is assembled, and so you can see that it's more flexible by having both covers hinged like that, because then you can still write on the back and push the cover open. So I'm going to finish embellishing this, and then I'll show you the final product. I finished embellishing my guest book. It's very simple. I attached a little pocket here with a slider mat, and you can write a date on there, the couple's name, or put a photograph even on here. And I made a little pocket, and then I used my die cutting machine to cut the center out. And I put some bling around the edge, and on this little mat I cut a tab, and I just attached a little ribbon rose on here. So I hope you enjoyed making your guest book, and don't forget, this can also be used as a diary. Have a nice day. Bye.